the last 5 of our favorite films. Ben Eastman, take it away.
All right. The last 5. Number 5, and maybe this is cheating, maybe it's not. I didn't necessarily read the rule book. This is a tie.
I have a tie
between
too,
two
so
films.
it's okay.
It's because I needed. I could have done a top 11, but I had to fit 2 into this one spot.
Right.
They are 2 horror films. They're 2 from my favorite director of all time, John Carpenter. Halloween and The Thing, right next to each other, come in at my top 5. 2 films which have influenced me just so much since I have enjoyed film and wanted to become a filmmaker. 2 films that really thrive on suspense, which is what I think is what makes horror films scary. Mm-hmm. My personal preference when it comes to thrillers and horror films is something that's suspenseful, eats at you, it's thrilling in that way. And of course, they are different in some respects, is that they use the suspense, although The Thing has a little more to show for it when it gets down to the suspense leading up to The Thing exposing itself, because The Thing is absolutely frightening, the monsters that are created in that movie.
It's great.
But the makeup and the effects are just as frightening as they were. And yes, they look a little ridiculous now, but it's amazing the work that went into. Rob Bottin is the effects artist that worked on that movie. And I'll hit it first off. The music in both films. Everyone knows the Halloween theme. It's the easiest thing in the world to play, right, but it's something that everyone knows, and it's for a reason, is that it's stuck in your head. Right. A lot of people give Carpenter flack for his scores. I don't, because I think they're the best thing in the world.
That's why I asked you to kind of make that your inspiration for the Truffle Runners soundtrack, because I love those scores too.
Yeah, they're simple to do. There are always some keyboards, you got a little drum machine, but they fit their purpose perfectly well. They set the tone for the entire film. And for Halloween, that and there's also some other great stings that he does in that film. And for The Thing, actually, Ennio Morricone did the soundtrack for that, actually, which is one of the only Carpenter films.
He also did Hateful Eight, right?
Yeah,
he did it for The Thing?
Yeah, he did it for The Thing, although John Carpenter also did some music for The Thing as well, too. But Morricone is credited as the soundtrack person for...
So Carpenter got part way through and got writer's block or something? Rotten reinforcements?
I don't know exactly the whole story behind that, but... And it's very... The Thing's soundtrack is very simple. It's like... Doom, doom. But it's this dread that keeps with that suspense.
I honestly, I've seen The Thing at least 4 times with you.
Yeah.
I cannot think of the soundtrack right now. But what I can think of is the Halloween.
Yeah. And I will say Halloween's a little bit more memorable in that respect. Yeah. But The Thing is great because its score fits so well into the film.
The imagery
it fits so well with the groove that it doesn't necessarily stand out on its own. But as were other films where you might forget that score, this way it works really well as a piece with the film. And, they're both frightening. I mean, Michael Myers is great, Oh,
yeah.
Great villain. I just took a trip to California and I went to the Michael Myers house because... Not Michael Myers' house, but one of the houses of the babysitters in the movie. It's like
Braggadocio.
Yeah, I know. I hate to do that, but I had to do that because that film is like my everything, right. And being able to walk those streets and to know that they had filmed it, and that this is a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis was walking, and I'm right here.
It's hallowed ground.
It's hallowed ground, yeah, and that was probably one of the greatest experiences of my life. Actually, is being there and just feeling that. And The Thing is another one of those. We'll bring it back to 12 Angry Men a little bit because you got all these people in a room.
Yeah. And
while I haven't seen 12 Angry Men and it's different in that respect, I just love the way the Thing is set up. It's a whodunit. They're all together in this.
It's a very unique whodunit.
Yeah, and who has been taken over by the Thing, and Have you seen The Thing?
I don't think so.
Oh,
You know what I love about The Thing?
what?
And this is out of left field. The presence of Wilford Brimley.
Oh yeah, of course.
When I was a sophomore in high school, I had a speech and debate class, and I had at least three of my speeches were either about Wilford Brimley, or I was impersonating Wilford Brimley, and diabetes. And my sophomore yearbook, if I could find it, you'll probably find like someone said you're the next Wilford Brimley, or there's at least 3 different mentions of Wilford Brimley from people who were in that class with me. So seeing him in a film that I hadn't seen before, like a few years ago, was quite the treat.
Yeah,
and he actually looks relatively young compared to like the 80s onward.
And to go back, and it's funny. Also, differences between those two movies because they came out fairly. I think The Thing was in 81 and Halloween was like 78. And Halloween was actually, when it came out, it was actually, a lot of people really liked it because they felt it was very Hitchcockian in its suspense. Not a lot of people, everyone hated The Thing when it came out.
I don't understand why.
I don't understand why either. I think a lot of people thought it was, and this is where they get the difference between the two, is a lot of people thought it was a little too grotesque. And the scenes of like the monsters and the things in that movie, with the one with the dog with the spider legs, you got the guy with the head, and how the one where it rips open the body cavity and his hands go in it. Some pretty nasty shit is going on in that movie, and it was a little bit different. I think a lot of people were for that time. It was like, holy shit, this is gross stuff.
It still holds up as being terrifying.
It's like, but
because you can see it's really there. It's not. You can tell CGI. It's like, oh, that's a puff of nothingness. They kind of spent hours programming in. But when you tell that there's something tactile there that looks so gory, there's something even more horrifying about it.
What's so great is when they were making that film, Rob Bottin is the makeup guy for it.
A genius.
Genius, and he was very young. He was like 18. Or
no.
17. Honestly, he was like 17, 18, or 19 when he did the makeup for that film and the effects work.
I feel the nips now.
Yeah, and the coolest thing about that is that when his first conceptual stuff for it was for the thing to be kind of more or less shown in the shadows or silhouette or in the dark so it wouldn't be seen as much. But the DP, Dean Cundey, who did, I mean, he's done Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, he's done
Dean Cundey and the guy the Coens use, I forget his name right now. But those are the 2 top for me.
I know who you're talking about.
I
can't think of the guy. He has white hair.
Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
Those are the 2.
Yeah. Dean Cundey was like, no, your stuff is so good, we have to show it. And then that's kind of like why that film has become so popular, is showing the monsters that he's created in that movie.
Oh, God.
It's just a great movie. Very tense.
There's no other monsters I've seen on film that are that creepy.
Yeah.
And that well done.
And Kurt Russell's in it. My favorite actor of all time.
Wow, really?
Oh, yeah, by far. I absolutely love Kurt Russell. We'll be talking about him coming up soon, too. But, you know, I mean, Kurt Russell, and another film that didn't make my list that is very close to being right here, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh,
absolutely love that film. So great.
My favorite actor is Alan Burrell.
Oh, sucking it up. Well, segue. Go from my films to Alan's 5.
Yeah, there we go. My number 5 is Life is Beautiful. Yes.
Life is Beautiful. That's, what's his name?
God.
Roberto Benigni.
Yeah, thank you.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. I'm not a fan of that film.
Wow.
And I haven't seen it in a long time, though, so.
Yeah,
I do not like that film, but I will listen to what your opinion is.
Yeah.
No, I have no opinion. I love that film. I feel like...
that is an opinion, silly.
I should see it again, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I actually have no idea why.
Oh.
I can explain why on a lot of them, but that one, it's just something that I just love it.
Does it make you feel good?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's geez, something I didn't experience growing up. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening. I doubt you are, because you're a dick.
Sorry again, Father.
Is that film is all about him putting his child, his blood before himself. And that is it's just a huge thing in life.
Yeah.
To be able to say, I'm not the important one anymore. My kid is. And the way and the grace that actor portrays, like, for as far as that goes, is just brilliant to me. And I'll just be forever emotional because, I'll just always remember.
So it strikes a chord with you, though.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's that's good.
Yeah, and that's what's great about film.
Yeah.
I love that you guys don't like that film.
Yeah.
Because it struck something with me that maybe it didn't strike.
Yeah.
Same with The Thing. Of course, I haven't seen The Thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So.
You're talking about the father's relationship with the son and stuff. What you just said, Life is Beautiful didn't strike that chord with me, but you know what did? Like it's a silly scene, but for some reason it chokes me up every time I see it. And Liar Liar, where Jim Carrey is chasing the plane with the staircase. Come back, Max! Max! I'm like, oh my god, he's going after his kid!
Liar, liar.
I've had better.
I'll tell you this right now.
That is a sweet movie.
I'll tell you this right now. If we do a top 10 of all comedy, I put Liar Liar on my list.
It's a great movie.
Great fucking movie.
And Tom Shady.
And the funny thing is,
Tom Shadyak's best movie.
When I think of Jim Carrey movies, for some reason, Liar Liar always escapes.
Yeah.
I never think about it, but when I watch it, I'm like, wow.
I'm that way with Me, Myself, and Irene.
It's
always
cheesy as
escapes me, but it's great.
That's like my second favorite comedy of all time,
it's a
actually.
Great movie.
Liar Liar is. It's like it adds layers of cheese. It's like Jim Carrey making silly faces, but somehow
the story is so great.
It holds up. It's like it has all the I guess the superficial slapsticky stuff that's entertaining to watch a few times, but underneath is the core of the story.
Think about the guy that gets to write for Jim Carrey movie. I mean, Jim Carrey comes on the scene and the writers go, "Oh boy, here we go!" Really. And then you have a character that can take anything you write and just the imagination will just explode.
And I think that's a testimony and
Moratini, I love her too.
Sadly, I don't think he gets to do that very often, especially lately. He hasn't come out with a good movie in a long time.
I Love You, Philip Morris. I think.
That was great.
One.
No one's ever seen that.
Yeah.
That's the worst part because I love that movie.
I've seen it.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
But I think he's actually a really good actor.
They get you that first scene, man.
And I forget the first scene, but I remember liking it.
He's a phenomenal actor.
That's where he's
it goes so far beyond comedy with him, and that's why he's so brilliant. It's just
he can make you cry and make you cry laughing in the same way.
Yeah, and that's an amazing.
I'm sure if we named the top 100, I'm sure Truman Show would end up there.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one of my favorite films too.
Yeah, I have it.
In fact, I can't believe I didn't put Dumb and Dumber on my list because it's such a classic to me. But it's not there,
What do you think of 2?
It was disgraceful.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Dumb and Dumber 2 was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Thanks for reminding me, because we're going to talk about movies we hate. Dumb and Dumber 2. Talk about pissing on a legacy, and that's too bad.
Oh, man. They just, wrong direction, guys.
I saw an interview with one of the Farrelly brothers. He was talking about how he was in a conversation. He was talking about what he wanted for Dumb and Dumber 2, and he's like, the first one was filmed, so I think we need a film look for this movie, but a producer convinced him to go digital. But the fact that he cared enough about the movie to even hesitate about going digital, it needs to be film. It needs to be genuine for the fans. When I haven't seen the movie, granted, but I've seen a lot of clips. And it's just fucking trash. And when he's that concerned about the film versus digital paradigm, when that's the movie he's talking about, it's kind of funny.
Right. All right, Jeff.
All right.
Let's just put a little disclaimer saying trying to do a sequel 20 years later of any film is going to be the challenge of a fucking lifetime.
It can be done.
And if you're not prepared to pull it off.
It's been done right before, right before, but I can't think of the film. There's one recently that was done that actually really freaking worked. I can't think of it. But
Please.
but yes,
Please think of it. Yeah.
10 years later, Clerks and Clerks 2, like, different movies, but
That's
great.
Kevin Smith. That's the thing about Kevin Smith is he's so stamped into his films.
yeah, true.
Oh, it's Kevin Smith. It doesn't matter.
Dumb and Dumber really hit at the perfect time.
Yeah.
I think that was 94.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and it hit right.
No.
We were talking about 94 earlier.
Yeah.
That really hit at a perfect time, and it was such a product of its era. But it was just all kind of. That's what made me think. Like when I saw Dumb and Dumber 2, I was like, man, things must have just aligned perfectly at that time to make that movie. That's one of my favorite comedies of all time. And I watched that a day.
But
you know,
it's stupid slapstick that normally wouldn't work.
Yeah,
but it works.
It's funny. Yeah.
The catheter scene in the second one, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
Wasn't that done in Hot Tub Time Machine? Anyway, another one on my list. Since Ben just had his tie, I'll do my tie.
Here's number 5. This is your number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Lebowski. I don't have numbers.
Oh,
so
Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
That's a good.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh,
nice.
The Coen Brothers.
2 great movies.
The Coen Brothers are my favorite filmmakers. My favorite scriptwriters, as far as dialogue is concerned. They're the peak of what you can do. Their dialogue, I think, is second to nobody. The Big Lebowski, I think, is in the way that Blues Brothers and Ferris Bueller's Day Off is like the ultimate Chicago movies. I think The Big Lebowski is kind of the ultimate modern Los Angeles movie. There's other movies that capture Los Angeles in different times, but maybe even better in terms of being a portrait of the city. There's like L.A. Confidential, which should have been on my list, but it's not. Collateral, I haven't seen that in a long time, but the L.A. Confidential, the Sunset Boulevard, Mulholland Drive, it's in different ways that kind of infuse the spirit of Los Angeles into the movies, and I think kind of modern L.A., Big Lebowski might be as good. It's like if they took L.A. and straight razored off most of the superficiality, although there's a little bit, and with some minor characters, but just had kind of L.A.
I think
The Big Lebowski is it. Walter Sobchak is one of my favorite characters of all time.
The best thing I love about Big Lebowski is it's such a perfect slice of whatever it is that the Coens are, and a perfect slice of just that kind of film.
Yeah.
And the Coens hate it. It seems like they really have set us like they've watched themselves of that film, which is weird to think about.
I understand why. If you make all these films and so many people are just so obsessed with one, and they're like, "Hey, look over here, Hail Caesar! It's amazing!" Like, "Oh, Big Lebowski!"
Yeah,
it's I can see why they say that. It's just I don't know how Big Lebowski works. It feels like a film that shouldn't work.
Yeah,
because there's so many different plot lines.
It's confusing.
It's slightly confusing the first time you watch it. If you're following the story, I wasn't following it that closely. I was just laughing at everything that was hilarious.
Yeah,
the humor is really intelligent, which a lot of particularly modern comedies I don't think value the intelligence of the viewers. They go for the lowest denominator.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
because it's true. If there's something we need to save in the film industry, it's
intelligent comedy.
Yeah.
Well, just having that is understanding that the audience isn't dumb.
Yeah,
and really respecting them by writing. Just having faith in your own writing and being absolutely.
I tend to write kind of, and I'm not saying I'm great. I'm not saying I'm good or brilliant, but I try and write comedies that don't demean people who watch it. That if they're watching it, they'll either get it or not. If they don't get it, they can go away. And people that like it will stick around.
Yeah.
And hopefully watch other stuff I make. But
it's just expression. You're just enjoying yourself writing a film, and
But I don't think there's a need to talk down to the audience and soften the blow of it.
And I think that's what has pretty much attributed to their longevity as cult filmmakers. Yeah. I mean, the Coens will never have that $200 million box office, but when the Coen brothers when they come out with a film, they've got their fans that are just like eagerly away.
Yeah,
well, every time the Coen brothers come out with a new film, we're there. Yeah, we're there. I don't care what it looks like. We're there. We'll see it.
Absolutely.
And whether it's good or bad, we'll at least see it.
There's only one I haven't liked.
That's how I am with Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
I like him too.
Yeah, I'm there too every time Wes Anderson comes out with something.
But the Coens, for me, are just so special. And Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is... It's kind of I guess a sedimentary look at everything that makes the South of that 1930s era, things that made it, the elements that made it good, and the elements of the South that were not so.
Roger Deakins.
It's one rare situation where Clooney really works for me.
He's great in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I'm just like, right. I think he really brings it home in that film.
In any film he's in, except of the Coens, except Burn After Reading, which I just didn't like in general.
Yeah.
But
did you like Men Who Stare Goats?
Never saw it.
Yeah.
But
fun but forgettable.
Yeah. There you go.
But Clooney's great in that. What's his freaking name? The only part of he was Jesus in Big Lebowski. The only character I didn't care for in that movie, but he was great.
John Turturro.
John Turturro.
Yeah.
He plays. He's in it. He's great.
Don't fuck with the Jesus. Yeah.
Tim Blake Nelson. Just great. Holly Hunter. Everything about the movie.
John Goodman is great in it.
John Goodman. He plays the cycloptic
Bible
salesman.
Holly Hunter, John Goodman. Let's talk about another Spielberg film. Always.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh God, that's a great one.
Never seen it. I know you like it.
I liked it. It's I have a friend Tyler. I have a friend Tyler Shaw. He's like the ultimate Spielberg cheerleader. Like he'll anything Spielberg he's an apologist for, except Always. He hates Always for some reason.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. But Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Probably one of the greatest soundtracks that I've ever heard. It was, I think, it's the highest grossing soundtrack.
It's a great
to be released on album.
I am a man
of constant sorrow. I seen trouble on my days.
Yeah. When that movie came out, I had never even seen that movie, but I knew that song. That was a big hit.
I think they were playing those on the radio.
Crossover hit too, for some reason.
Crazy. Yeah. How rare is that shit?
Yeah, it's
you got to be like Mariah Carey.
I think the soundtrack probably did better than the movie itself, honestly.
Yeah,
probably.
But the soundtrack helps the movie more than the movie helps the soundtrack. Right. And usually it's the reverse is true.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie is the Klan scene. They come out, like the three main characters come out of the bushes and they see the Klan is about to hang their friend that they made. It's this black blues player, kind of like a Robert Johnson type, and they kind of pull the Blazing Saddles. They disguise themselves as Klan members and sneak into the rally, and it's like great. The Klan is kind of dancing, but then there's a great action scene. And the movie's not an action movie by any means, but the scene is a great action scene, and John Goodman is reintroduced in it, and I love everything about the film. They say it's based on the Odyssey, and it has that great epic story feel. When you're sitting down to watch it, it's like you're embarking on an old adventure, an old story, reuniting with old friends, and it has the same feel that an old epic tale.
I'd like to watch that again. I think that's one that I haven't appreciated as much as you have, but I think it's one that on repeated viewings is one that could really kind of sink your teeth into, and that's another thing that's nice about the Coen Brothers is that really their movies are juicy. Like, so many things going on in them. A movie of theirs that I really love that is different each time I watch it, Barton Fink.
Oh.
John Turturro again.
Yeah, John Turturro and Goodman, who steals that movie.
Buscemi.
Another great movie of theirs, which I think is really underrated. Really underrated. Serious Man.
Oh, yes.
That's a movie that has a lot going on that's really great. Really funny.
What's it called?
A Serious Man came out, what, 07, 08?
I think it was 09.
Oh, well,
It introduced. It's like, I think it was the first film appearance of Michael Schulberg.
and he's
in everything now.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I'll put A Serious Man right under my list with The Thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great movie. Cool.
Your turn, I believe.
My turn. Well, I guess I can do another Carpenter film.
Here we go.
My favorite Carpenter film. The absolute direct influence for the music for your film.
Oh, yeah.
Escape from New York.
Oh, I can definitely
With
see it.
Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken.
I knew that was on there the second you said more Kurt Russell to come.
Yeah. I got posters, I got T-shirts. I'm seeing John Carpenter in concert because of that. That's the soundtrack.
We saw Escape from New York at the Hollywood.
We did. The Hollywood played
film.
it on the big screen.
35 millimeter,
I saw it,
believe,
I think,
right?
3 times during its week run. I made trips out there to see it.
I went with you. Wasn't it 35 millimeter?
I don't know if it was. I think I might have been digital actually,
it?
but I don't know. Who cares? Regardless,
The score really pounds into your heart when it comes from theater speakers. It echoes through the entire.
That film is meant for the big screen.
Yeah, it's
film is meant for the big screen.
Yeah.
I hate that people.
I wish
are
we
bootlegging and shit now
only because you should be experiencing it. Yeah, I mean
that's just one of those films that you have
Yeah.
You can't watch that film on a fucking phone. Let me tell you that right now. But the music's so good, and Kurt Russell is Snake Plissken, and
Ernest Borgnine.
a lot of people give that film flack, and I can see how, because there's this, people think it's a little too slow. People think that his pacing's kind of off on it. Everything in that film works for me. I love it.
It's not slow at all. It's just slowly. It's a maybe slightly slow paced, but it doesn't feel slow.
And the ending with how it all comes together. Borgnine's great in that movie. Adrian Barbeau is 100% a Fox in that movie.
We've met both of them.
Yeah, we have. Wow, damn, we haven't met a lot of them. But yeah, just Escape from New York is just one of those films for me. I don't know. It just all works. Music's great. It's a beautiful film. Dean Cundey shot that as well. The
production artist, or whoever made that New York,
the best.
It looks awesome.
The best, and somehow yet the effects in this movie look better than its sequel, which came out in 1997.
Yeah, which is PlayStation 1 graphics.
And really that Escape from New York, while it's fun, and I do watch it every now and then, it's not very good.
Escape from LA, you mean?
Escape from LA, yeah. But the kind of funny thing too is I was actually reading before I got here, because I'm just a Carpenter nut. I was reading an interview about a little bit of Escape from New York. Mm-hmm. Apparently there was a huge fire in St. Louis before that movie came out, which burnt quite a few city blocks of St. Louis.
Really?
And they got permission to shoot in these city blocks where this was burnt. Full permission from St.Louis.
Wow.
And they got permission to turn off the lights, and they got to light it themselves in these city blocks, so they really got to just fucking take a hold of
it was a dream come true.
Oh yeah, I mean, as a filmmaker you're like, production value, boom, right in a city that no one's clearly living in there.
Right.
But I bet St. Louis got paid a hell of a lot of money for that, and that would have helped them out right after a disaster like that.
Oh yeah.
See, film is good for the world.
But
shit, there's so many reasons it's good for the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We would all kill ourselves without.
I probably would.
I would without film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And So Escape from New York. That's
good.
That's number 4 for me.
Nice. Let's go ahead and talk about Leo a little bit.
DiCaprio.
Ooh. Which one?
I'm gonna go Catch Me If You Can.
Ooh. I was wondering what Leo movie you were gonna say. That's good. I love it.
Catch Me If You Can is a movie I will watch over and over.
Yeah,
me too, absolutely.
Again.
Spielberg.
That's probably in my jumble up. Yes. Someday it'll be on my list too.
I mean, it's just it's remarkable. It really is.
Sorry.
I like that. That's good. But when you were talking about the music of Halloween, how it's so simple, but it's the same thing with
Music
Catch Me
is
If You
good,
Can't.
Oh, I remember.
Like, it's just, oh my god, it plays in my head over and
John
over
Williams,
and over again.
right?
Yeah, John Williams.
I gotta see Catch Me If You Can again.
So fucking
Tom Hanks is in that.
I
It's
remember.
great.
Like every time that music plays, I think of Tom Hanks like showing up at that bungalow where when he's pretending to be the doctor.
Yeah.
And he's been hanging out with all the chicks, and Tom Hanks is there,
Yeah.
like, looking through this summer bungalow. It's like, all right, where are you, doctor? And that music, and he finds like Too Late Carl or something.
Yeah.
And
my favorite part is when they think they've got him cornered at the airport, and then all of a sudden he hires a man to wear the hat and sit in the car, and Tom Hanks comes up to the car. They've got the car surrounded, and it's this other guy, and he's got the sign. And they say, "Who are you picking up?" And he's in the car. He flips a sign around and it says Henry, which is the cop's name.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, and then the plane takes off. Fly me to the moon.
Man, I gotta see.
Holy shit!
I've seen that movie twice, I think, or something. I gotta see it again.
You know what I love? It's another similar airport escape scene where like he dresses up as the pilot again. He goes to a local college and he like recruits a bunch of girls to be stewardesses.
Yeah,
and he's walking through the
That's
airport.
the scene right before that.
He's like swamped. Like FBI is completely swamped the airport, but like they're all looking at the girls like,
Yeah.
But they're not. They don't notice that the freaking criminal is right in the middle of this triangle of women.
Right.
They're all just ogling them, and the guy gets away
Which
because
is
they were all,
exactly what would happen.
yeah.
I mean, it really.
Really. So that's why they let women into the FBI now.
And I had to.
What? There he is.
And I had to have I mean, you gotta have one true story in there at least. So.
Oh God, I love that.
That's a great movie, man.
Great movie.
God damn it, Spielberg.
Oh,
I swear.
Dude, Spielberg's. Sometimes I stare at Spielberg's IMDb page and my mouth just.
Yeah.
I just kind of.
So good.
It's
So good. Oh my God, I forgot he made that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Just so I can throw this out there, because this is a film that I hadn't seen for years. Oh my God, what's it called? Okay. By Spielberg, and like, God, the intro to that movie. Amistad.
I've never seen that.
I don't know if you've ever seen it,
I've
but
heard
the
of it.
intro of that movie is so fucking good.
That's like the slave movie?
Yeah, it's the slave movie. Absolutely sold me immediately when I watched that movie. The intro was one of the best things I've ever seen, and it is so good, so good. But yeah, that's another great movie that I always forget that he made that. Another movie I watched a little bit of last night that I forgot he made too. Color Purple. He made The Color Purple.
That's right.
Every time I see Oprah's name in the credits, I roll my eyes. Oh God, it's Oprah.
Yeah, but Color Purple is different. It's kind
It's like before Oprah was Oprah.
Yeah, it's. Yeah.
All right, Jeff.
All right, Jeff. Number 4.
All right, since we're talking about, well, this is based on a true story, though the main characters are not true. You see where it is now, I'm sure. Titanic.
Of course.
James Cameron.
Thank you for putting that on the list. Somebody neaded to.
Titanic. So
It was
many
definitely
people.
going to always be him, though.
I thought about it, but
God. So many people, and it's not like, I had a film teacher who I respect the hell out of. The legendary Dr. Jake Lee. He's written in film journals and whatnot. Ben had Jake Lee as well. The one movie he always he said he used it in a test he used it in lessons as an example of plot versus story. And like the story is the ship sinks and Jack and Rose blah blah blah. But the plot of the movie is summary, like the chronological order of the scenes in the film, not necessarily the general. But he said, I hate this movie, but it's the easiest one to use to distinguish the difference between story and plot. But he hated that, and he really hated the show Friends. But anyway, Titanic. It's the reason I love it so much is the story's fun. Jack and Rose. The Cal fictional characters are all fun, but the reason I love it so much is it shows what existed, like which is the ship with all these people aboard. lots of lives, like children, people.
I mean, as far as a timepiece,
it's a timepiece. It's a
fucking
portrait.
brilliant.
It is. It puts you in the time period.
Yes.
And it shows you like it shows you not only that there were people. It shows you like how each. It establishes the class system, which ended up being incredibly unfair. But it sets it up. It was
a huge part of the film, though.
Oh yeah,
was the from
Absolutely.
the beginning to the end.
The love story.
It's about your
point A to point
level in society. Yeah,
the love story sets up like, oh, you're dating steerage, but and that helps. I guess the love story helps explain how intense class was looked on. Even you think of class system as that's kind of a snooty. Aristocratic British thing, but
that's true to the times also, again, though. That's the way it was.
But it apparently also applied with rich American families as opposed to poor Americans. Maybe some could argue that discrepancy exists now when it comes to relationships.
Just the idea of a poker game that the prize is a trip on this boat.
On the Titanic.
Like, are you kidding me?
I'd go, like, if I had no knowledge that it would sink, obviously they didn't, I'd go, like, oh yeah, I'm going to America.
Yeah.
It shows the different, and I think what I like about it is it shows all the different classes and stuff, but I think usually, a movie like this, it would play up the poor guy and completely demonize the rich people on the boat, like, oh, they're rich, they're privileged and stuff. Mm-hmm. The film doesn't do that. Granted, there are characters who are rich in the movie that are fucking dicks, but they are fictional characters. But like the real life rich people, like Guggenheim, this guy Guggenheim, he was walking around in the Great Hall under the dome or whatever in his tuxedo, and the guy's like, "Here, take a life jacket." He's like, "No, I'm going to go down dressed in my best like a gentleman." But then he afterthought, "I would like a brandy, however." But like poor people got the short end of the stick based on the structure. Based on the how the ship operated, they and it shows in the film. And this actually did happen. They closed off the gates under the ship to they wouldn't let the poor people up as the water was coming up, and so that's why so many of them died, because they were locked in the bottom of the ship. It's in the more like micro scale stuff. With the main the characters is fine. The romance, this conflict between Rose and her mother about marrying Cal because the mother's family's fortune is gone, and Cal is her way back into wealth. And the mother doesn't want to be a seamstress. That's all well written. But what I love is how the film so captures. It both captures what was. Like it sets up the components of the culture that allowed Titanic to go down as it did. Both so many poor people dying, and the noble rich people dying, and also it's cliche to say this about the Titanic. Everyone does, but it's the classic story of the hubris of man. They thought, oh, this ship can't sink, so they only make enough lifeboats for half of the passengers on board the ship. Which was a horrible mistake, and you can see it in the shipbuilder's eyes.
Two Leo films in a row. I just realized.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, DiCaprio, but
damn.
But it has what James Cameron did with that film is not only just set up the world
extras
and establish he established the world of 1912 and the culture, and he set it up so well that when things started happening as the boat was sinking, we believed that it would happen. When they're locking people out of the when they're locking people in the bottom of the ship. We don't think, why are they doing that? Why would they do that? Because he set up the discrepancy in the culture between the higher classes and the lower classes. We say, oh, of course this happens. It's just great storytelling. And one thing...
And the scene with Kathy Bates sitting up in her raft, like...
another great Kathy Bates performance.
Yeah, just
my favorite actress.
Oh my God, look at how cozy she is while Leah's inside, drowning, fighting for everything.
But Kathy Bates is another example. Her before Kathy Bates' performance, the character was legendary. It's the unthinkable Molly Brown.
Oh wow, yeah.
But
that was the character she was based off of. That's right.
That's who she's playing in the movie.
I forgot about that.
And and I think a lot of populist filmmakers would be tempted to all the rich people were fucking scum because they got away scot-free. But this woman was trying to save lives.
Woman, yeah.
She's rich as hell, but she's trying to overthrow the captain of the lifeboat or the officer in charge of the lifeboat. It's like, oh, hell with you. We're going back into the water where the people are.
You need that character, that middleman. It's a really important piece of it. Yeah.
There was a lot of people helping other people, and the only people that I think were really in charge of keeping the hierarchy of the classes intact were the crew of the ship. And because when the rich people themselves were wanting to help the poor people, because in that moment, I think a certain amount of the class distinction disappeared, and the only people concerned with class distinction were the people running the ship because they had it in their mind. They paid more for the ticket, so they get first dibs in the lifeboat. You know what I mean? Yeah. And of course, the sinking itself is brilliant. It looks great.
Man, I gotta watch that again. I've never heard. I'll be honest. I never heard someone talk so much in depth of that movie, but it's made me really actually want to watch it.
I've had really long conversations with people about that movie. Yeah,
and it's funny. Well, I can tell you the VHS copy I have is there's one particular area that for some reason doesn't show up very well anymore, and I can't think of what scene that was.
You guys are also younger, right? So that came out...
I was 7 years old.
See, I was a lot older,
I hated that movie when I first saw it.
I
loved it when I first saw it.
I remember I saw it twice in theaters. I remember where I saw it. No, I saw it once in theaters.
People would go 11 times to the theater. It was incredible.
I saw it once in theaters. I was 7 years old, and I hated it because there's one shot in the movie that freaked me out so bad. I hated
when he falls and the body hits
see, that's what I thought automatically. Yeah.
But that wasn't it for me. One, I hated... I'm sure that disturbed me, but that's not what stuck in my mind. I hated Cal. I thought he was so mean, and I didn't like that when I was 7. Yeah. It's like, I don't like that guy.
That's Billy Zane?
Billy Zane. Yeah. But the one that really still gets to me, it's... there's a cutaway, and it just shows the interior of the ship underwater. Parts of it, there's like a painting floating, but there's one. It's pointed up, and there's like a light, and you see a dead woman floating in front of the light, and she's like wearing pajamas and everything. But the ship is underwater, and she's floating kind of by the camera, and the light fixture is behind her, and there's like it's just a moment, kind of it's a break in the chaos, but she's dead, and it's like for some reason that really freaked me out. When I was a kid, I was like, I don't like it. That was sad. Yeah. But as soon as it came out on VHS, I watched it again, and I loved it. And I've watched it I've probably watched it over 100 times.
Before we segue to your film, I do just if you're interested in another great movie on a boat.
Yeah.
The Legend of 1900.
I've heard of that. My dad was telling me about
Tim Roth.
No, I've never heard of it.
Really weird, but great.
Isn't that he's a jazz player who can't play anywhere except on the boat?
And I can't remember a lot of things about it, but I highly recommend it. Yeah, great movie, Legend of 1900.
And that's it's about the ragtime era, isn't it? And Tim Roth is a jazz player that can't leave the boat and play. Like if he leaves the ship that he's on or the the stern reeler or whatever it is. He can't go back. He can't play, but when he's in the ocean, he can play like nobody's business.
That's really crazy.
And there's like a scene where he's like dueling with pianos with Jelly Roll Morton.
Yeah.
Like a legend of ragtime.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3.
Well, it's funny, we were talking about DiCaprio. I don't have any DiCaprio film on my list. I would say, though, if one was going to be on my list...
Oh, yeah, which one?
Aviator.
Yes!
I can thank Geoff for making me a fan of that film.
I have not seen Aviator.
His best performance, by far.
Wow.
Shit.
Scorsese's best film besides Goodfellas.
I mean, Departed was pretty solid, too.
Yeah, it is.
For a newer film.
But you know what? For me, Departed does not stand up as well as it did when I first saw it anymore. But I do love it. But yeah, The Aviator would be on my list if I was going to choose DiCaprio.
You know, honestly, it should be on my list.
Yeah.
And if I remade the list tomorrow, it'd probably be up there close or in my list.
The funny thing is too is that yours was Catch Me If You Can, and yours was Titanic. All 3 of which films perfectly capture that time in which they are set.
Oh, absolutely.
All period films, absolutely to a T, perfectly done. All 3 great filmmakers too. But yeah, so that's not on my list. And you did say a boat, so I will use that as my segue.
Of course, I know what film it is.
And well, you know it's...
Young Dreyfus!
No.
Oh, no?
That was number 2, but it's number 3 today for perfect. So I will go Jaws. Yes. So Jaws was number 2. There is another film, but you know what?
Bad.
They switch. They switch every day.
Jaws is great.
Jaws is great. Jaws is the first movie where I watched it and realized it was like a movie.
Yeah.
Like realized it was actual. Like as a kid when I saw it, it was the first time I conceptualized. Like, this is a thing that someone has made.
And is that because it's such an unrealistic... Like,
I saw
it's realistic, but it's... I mean...
No, I just...
Because isn't that a bad thing when you're
No, I'll tell you why. There was the VHS copy that my parents gave me on my birthday when I was like 6 or 7, which is pretty young for a film like that.
Yeah.
I realized that, but it had a little like documentary at the beginning of it, just a little bit, where they were. It showed one behind the scenes picture, which was Steven Spielberg in the mouth of Bruce Jaws. But they were. It was Dreyfus. It was a few interviews. Dreyfus, Peter Benchley, who wrote the book Jaws, and they were talking about it. And then it went to the film, and I kind of was like, "Oh, what are they talking about?" And I guess it laid the groundwork for me to realize that this was something that people had made. Mm-hmm. But that's the most influential film that I can think of.
Yeah.
And another film I can watch end to end. I mean, Jaws doesn't even appear till like the final 30 minutes of that film, but the acting, the casting is perfect.
Yeah.
Scheider as Brody, perfect.
Absolutely.
He's such a great actor. Probably one of the most underrated of all time. Never got his due. Dreyfus, who's also very underrated, great in that character, but Quint with Robert Shaw,
so amazing,
and that monologue where he's talking about, is it the Lusitania? I forget. He's talking about where the sharks were circling all the people that had in that broken ship, and just what?
I just realized something.
Oh,
I'm an idiot. We keep talking.
But that film, it's just great. You're gonna need a bigger boat. Yep. I mean, best quote of all time. And Jaws just makes me. It's so good. It's so perfect.
That trombone shot when he sees the kid like on the raft.
Yeah.
Oh.
Each scene, you know what's coming, and it still works perfectly.
Just the opening scene.
Yeah.
That couple on the
beach,
yeah.
And she's running out there.
God.
Yeah, and then of course the music.
Yes.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I think my favorite scene, well, other than the trombone scene, my favorite scene is Brody comes home and the kids have their own little dock and the kids are in the boat. They're out and the father's like, "Hey, kids, get out there!" And the wife's like, "They're having fun." The shark out there, it's probably not they're fine. And then he hands her a book or something, and there's an illustration of like a shark swallowing a boat whole or a boat splitting in half in the shark's teeth or something. And so the wife's like, "Hey, Michael, you're your father here right now. You're your father. Get out of the boat right now." And you can see how quickly her mind changed. I love that part.
Yeah, it's it. It's it.
And another scene that I love is when Dreyfus is doing the autopsy, and you see only a tiny bit of the remains, but he's describing it, and you see like he looks sick, he's sweaty, and I've always believed in the power of sweat on film.
Dreyfus in that scene is just so believable.
Oh, you think he's going to throw up at any
second.
I
almost want to know if they really set something that was just so horrifying, like the smell, because he reacts like he can't. It's not. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's everything, and his acting is perfect, but the sweat on his face sells it. Yeah. And I believe in like using sweat in film, so I've been known to spray my actors down with it. Water. It's not real sweat that I harvested, but it's
even the fact that you just said that. My own harvested sweat.
It's not harvested, in case you were wondering.
Spray actors down with water. It's like It's like actors are can do great things, but like sweating, if they can sweat on their own or spraying them down, is like steroids for the performance in certain contexts.
One scene that I always think about when I think about Jaws is when the young boy dies. After he's already warned the mayor and about the sharks, and they're like, no, we need this money that this summer season is going to bring in. And he's felt so bad about it. He's like, no, we have to close. He's done. No, you don't understand. We need the money from this thing. And then he goes to the beach, and the kid dies. And there's a scene with the mom slapping his face. Now, when I was a kid, I was like, that bitch, why would she ever slap Chief Brody? But then you get older, and you just realize the context laid behind that scene, and it's just like, it tears you apart.
You knew.
Yeah.
You knew, and you let him go in the water.
Hey, not my fault. Talk to the mayor.
Yeah,
but
oh my god,
still, that mayor deserves a
good
punch
choice.
in the face. He's like the uncle from It's a Wonderful Life. You just want to slap him.
Great film.
Love the movie.
Okay, well, let's go from out of the water and into the stadium with my number 3 at A League of Their Own.
I've only seen a few minutes of it. I think.
There's no crying in baseball.
Yes. I'm a huge Hanks fan, as you can tell. Honorable mentions would definitely be movies like Big. Can't believe it's not on my list because I love it so much.
Turner and Hooch, man.
But,
love it.
You've Got
Splash.
Mail. Number 1 romantic. Oh my gosh, I love that movie. You've Got Mail.
What about Splash? Are you a fan of Splash?
I like Splash a lot. Oh. Yeah, Eugene Levy,
John
Candy. Second City.
Second City. Yeah, you're right.
Eugene Levy's in Splash.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy.
He's the bad guy.
Okay, I need to watch it.
Who's trying to expose the mermaid?
A League of Their Own, man. I've seen this movie probably more than, other than my number 1. I've seen it more than any movie ever.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't. It's been one of those movies I've never understood why nobody shares my my love of it.
I want to see it.
I mean, it's just the greatest tale of, I don't even know. Have you seen it? Yeah. It's incredible.
My mom's seen it.
I'm overwhelmed by how well the story is told.
So Gina Davis, Madonna...
Rosie O'Donnell, Tom
Madonna's in it,
yes. Wow. In fact, it was Téa Leoni's, she was a featured extra in this movie.
Oh, wow.
But I just can't even express how much I love that film. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I gotta see it again.
I
used to see it. That was one I always watched on TV all the time.
Wasn't it filmed in Oregon?
They did the farm where they grew up. Is in the base with the beginning scene, in fact, when they're playing on the farm and they're playing baseball, is I don't remember.
Is it Tillamook, wasn't it, or something?
No, it was like Old Town Willamette or something like that, or maybe not Willamette, but definitely Oregon.
Huh. Well,
yeah.
God.
But yeah, I love that movie. Anyway, number 3. I'm gonna look that up right now.
Real quick, I'm still. I tried watching it once, and it's not like I was bored, but it was one of my many sleepless nights. So it was like 4 a.m, and I turned it on, and that's when I fell asleep.
Wow.
But so I saw a few minutes of it. So and it was, I think I was still in the opening credits when I started falling asleep. Sometimes the movie is all you need, but even if it's when I love it happens when I'm really tired.
Good choice.
So I've always wanted to.
Good choice, Alan.
I've always wanted to see
each one of our choices, your guys's, have made me really want to like revisit the films.
Yeah.
Well, mine too. I have a list I've been writing of all the movies that.
Damn.
Okay, let's see.
You're number 3, right?
I didn't rank these, so it's going to be harder.
Okay.
All right. Ooh, tough choice. Okay, I'll go with this one for this one. Ben will know it. Knows it. It's probably on my list. It'll probably surprise you, Alan. Clerks by Kevin Smith.
Wow.
Oh my God! It's
Not really though, because that's a cult classic.
I love it. It's I remember. I'll set it up. One time I was over at Ben's house, and he's like, "Hey, want to watch Comic Book Man?" I'm like, "Not really." He's like, "Well, we're watching Comic Book Man." He turns on the show Comic Book Man. It's like people sitting around gabbing about comics and action figures, and like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, this is fucking boring." And like when I knew it was hosted by this guy named Kevin Smith, and this is like not a good show. I don't fucking care about what they're talking about, but we watched a couple episodes, and then one night I'm in bed looking for a good movie to watch, and I see Clerks is on there. I'm like, oh, Clerks! I've heard that title before, and it's one I've heard I should watch. I scroll over a couple ones, and I see it's directed by Kevin Smith, and I'm thinking, oh, God damn it! I don't want to. It's going to be something stupid.
Wow.
Like Comic Book Man show.
And
I hit play.
One of your favorite movies.
I hit play, and it was like going.
History.
It was like going on an adventure. I loved.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Oh my God! I don't know if it's just the movie, although it's great writing. So apparently, like reviews said it was David Mamet meets Howard Stern, and I could kind of see that.
Yeah. Wow. Damn. Yeah, that hits that kind of on the head.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's more than the movie itself. It's the story of the movie being made and picked up, and somehow he slid right into that jackpot. I was like,
yep.
That is amazing. And ever since then, I've become, minus Comic Book Man, the biggest Kevin Smith fan in the world.
Minus Red State.
Did you say you didn't like Cop Out? Or
I haven't seen Cop Out.
I love Cop Out. And it's really sad, too, because I heard that, I guess Bruce Willis was terrible to work with, and Kevin Smith will never work with him again, which is really sad because it was a great movie. I thought it was hilarious.
I'm not a fan of it either, but the whole story behind it makes it worth watching, at least for that.
I'm a huge Tracy Morgan fan, too, yeah.
But
yeah, so Kevin Smith, I mean,
I used
great
to.
Movie. That's another film that it literally like Dumb and Dumber, like El Mariachi. Clerks landed right at the perfect time.
Yeah.
It was right on that bubble.
90s, baby, yeah.
And that really was kind of the head of independent filmmaking at that time. Like that really like.
Well, it wasn't. That wasn't hardly the only one. There was El Mariachi, and there was like Slacker and Dazed and Confused.
But it hit.
But it's in that. It's in that cluster of film that kind of fissured and
made way for so many filmmakers and films now.
And it's not just filmmakers. It's just. The civilians love it because it represents that generation.
When you think about an indie film, you think about Clerks.
Yeah. Clerks is one of the 3 films I think of.
Yeah. Well, and the fact, what was it? He sold his comic book collections to make the film.
It wasn't just that though.
He made it for $28,000.
Like he sold his comic collection. He ran up a hell of a lot of credit cards.
Yeah.
He got money from FEMA because a car
he
was
went
destroyed
to the studio
in a flood.
and they said this is a $5 million film or something like that, right? and he's or $1 million film, or am I talking about maybe after that?
I don't think that's part of that story. This student, he got exposure through the IFFM in Sundance. He happened to show the film at the Angelica in New York, and a guy, Bob Hawk, he's an indie film consultant, happened to be there.
No.
And then through him and through a few other people that Hawk was able to facilitate them seeing Clerks, it eventually found its way into Sundance, where Harvey Weinstein saw it.
Miramax, yeah.
He walked out at first, and then he sat through it again at a different showing, and he ended up buying the film.
Oh.
And there was another guy at Sundance, Jim Jacks, said, "I want to work with you," and that's how Mallrats came around.
Wow.
But
Mallrats.
which I hated the first time I saw it. Sort of 3 times I saw it. But I was like, I kept coming back to it because there was something that had me coming back, and then eventually, like, I kind of like this actually.
Yeah.
Real quick to jump back in and cite what I was saying, A League of Their Own was not filmed in Oregon. It was written as in Oregon, but it was filmed in Indiana.
Oh, so it takes place in Oregon.
Gotcha.
Yes, takes place in Oregon.
Gotcha. But earlier when Ben was talking about Jaws, and I realized I was an idiot, it was because I didn't realize that the 2 lead characters were named after Jaws characters in Mallrats. Brody and T.S. Quint, that's Jason Lee and Jeremy London. Wow. They're named after Jaws characters.
Interesting.
Didn't know that. Not even dawn on me.
Yeah.
Because we just watched Mallrats like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Alan, did you ever find the sailboat?
What?
Yeah, you got it.
Too many people in my life have told me I look like that guy.
Oh my God, Ethan Suplee?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny. That's fucking funny.
Why, God? Why can't I see the goddamn sailboat?
This is Heavy Set